NBA Media Day. We had a lot of interesting interviews in Media Day. We had from Kevin Durant to Kyrie Irving to James Harden to Embiid to, they asked a bunch of Celtics players about the new interim coach, so on and so forth. There was DeAndre Ayton talking about he hasn't even spoken to Monty Williams since the Western Conference Finals or NBA Finals or whatever. So I want to know, Dennis, we'll start with you because you and I were talking about Media Day before this. So, what were your takeaways? What were your favorite interviews, quotes? What you got?
I was just very intrigued with the Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant. Obviously, I paid much closer attention to their press conferences, and I just saw two guys with two of the biggest chips on their shoulder, two guys with two attitude problems, two guys who didn't accept any responsibility for what happened, two guys that aren't accountable for their actions, two guys that don't think that they did anything wrong, two guys that they think they're completely innocent. It was disgusting. And to watch Kevin Durant up there and basically say he's not a mediator between the organization and Kyrie, that is, you want to talk about a guy like Holes? Like, that's complete bullshit because if you, for one, don't think that KD has any say on what happens with Kyrie and that the fact that Kyrie didn't get a contract extension, and if you don't think that didn't rub him the wrong way, you're crazy. He is absolutely 100% just as at fault for this because he still refuses to hold his boy accountable for how he acts. He wants to talk about how he's such a big team player. He wants to talk about how he's invested in winning a title. Yeah, he's interested in winning the title, but he doesn't want to do it the hard way, which means being a leader. He doesn't want to do it by keeping Kyrie Irving in check. He doesn't want to do it by calling Kyrie and saying, hey, you need to get your ass on the floor. And the fact that Kyrie Irving sat there and said, I gave up all this money to be to prove a point about vaccination and all this stuff. Listen, nobody wants to hear it from you, okay? Because there were a lot of people while that was going on that couldn't work and they wanted to work, and people lost their businesses, people were getting sick, people were losing houses, there was such a bad time. And the fact that Kyrie sat there and said he gave up, well, for one, you're worth over $100 million right now. All right. Granted, you're giving up $100 million, but you're not being impacted. He's set for the rest of his life. He's not getting impacted on the same level as other people are. So for him to sit there and act like he's a victim and all this is absolutely, if you just listen to the guy talk, he's out of his mind. Like, I don't know what he's on or what's going on with him. He's out of his mind. KD had this real blasé, laid back, dismissive attitude going. And let's not defend. You tried to get a guy fired. All right, you tried to get two people fired.
Two guys. Yeah.
Two guys fired because you were throwing a temper tantrum because you didn't like what was going on. And then when the Nets made it hard for you because they weren't willing to just trade you away just because you wanted it, now you want to kind of walk it back a little bit and say, oh, they didn't want to give me up because I'm too good. Yes, you are good, but your attitude is horrible. You and your boy's attitude is horrible. So I was very troubled by both of them and their attitudes, and whatever happens to Kyrie after this season, I could care less. I just hope he's gone. And that'd be one out of I think Kevin Durant will be much better off without Kyrie. Hey, because he's like a bad influence. But to sit up there to act like you're the savior for the unvaccinated masses, he's a fucking dweeb.
Yeah, to act like you're holier than thou because you did this thing is ridiculous. The only thing that I will say that I respect Kyrie for is just sticking to a belief, whether it's the right or wrong belief. Because I mean, personally, I believe it's the wrong belief, but a lot of people who even have the correct beliefs won't stand by their beliefs as much as he stood by his. I will respect that little piece, but I don't agree with it.
Yeah,
I don't agree with it at all.
He believes he doesn't want to play.
It also just was annoying how Kyrie was just kind of like, oh, I hate that it has pushed this narrative that like I don't want to play basketball, and it's like, well,
You don't.
the guidelines of if you wanted to play were very clear. So if you wanted to play, you follow the guidelines.
James Harden found his way out of Brooklyn because that guy was running around on half a hamstring, and he's like, "Fuck this! If I'm sitting here running around like a moron and I'm injuring myself while idiots at home or at his sister's birthday party or wherever the fuck he was, I totally get it. No wonder why James Harden wanted out of there." And KD was the guy who should have been, Kyrie, I get it, but we need you. Like, this is bigger than your beliefs. So you're letting your team down.
Right. And
We
and
came here for a reason. We came here to win a title, and you're preventing us from doing that.
exactly. And his whole thing about like, oh, I'm not the relay between, the team and Kyrie, and it's like, well, you and him are supposed to be 1A, 1B leaders here. Like that's what you two came here to be and were brought here to be. So act like it.